this is Andrew WK, and we're blowing it up.
Blowing it up.
Blowing it up.
On Capital Chaos.
Capital Chaos.
Capital Chaos TV.
This is Tom Songer with Capital Chaos TV, and I'm here with the band MMXX. We have Andrea Chiudetti. Right, butchered it.
Chiudetti, that's right.
Okay. And then Egan O'Rourke, and then we have Jesse Haff as well joining us. But yeah, you guys' new album, Sacred Cargo, came out 2 days ago, November 11th, 2022. And yeah, like, how does it feel to finally release it out to the world? Like, I don't know if it was like a long time coming from like the first like early press that came out about it, and just the project in general, but how's it feel for you guys to finally get it out there and see the response of fans and everything?
I'll go first. It feels like a relief to me because it's been so long that we've been working on this. Andrea contacted me, and towards the beginning of the pandemic in 2020, and it just like sort of started snowballing, more and more songs, more collaborators. So it just like, Egan flew out to North Carolina, which is where I'm based right now, to like record the drums in, what was that, like November or December, like a year ago?
Yeah, it probably October, November.
Yeah. And so we've, and then Dan Swano mixed the album, and he was done in January, I want to say. So like we've been completely done with everything for many, many months. So it feels really good to get it out there. And the reaction so far, I mean, it's really early, but the reaction has been great. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I saw one review on Distorted Sound, and yeah, I loved how they articulated the album, and they definitely know what's up with good doom metal, and yeah, it's great to see that response. And yeah, I just loved how they articulated that. So yeah, can you guys tell me more, like what sparked the idea of this project in general, like the origin story, like how the conversation started and everything like that?
Mm-hmm. Andrea, do you want to take?
Yeah, I try to answer. Okay, thanks. It happened that I was like in a very special mood when for what happened around the world, and this gave me the motivation to take the guitar and just start making a riff. And what happened is that I came up with four initial songs. And I suddenly, soon after, I decided to contact Jesse, my close friend Jesse, because I was sort of leaving my old band, The Foreshadowing, and I wanted to do something more international. And I thought, as a first person, to Jesse, and I reached out to him via email, and just wondering if he wanted to listen to these songs. And I was so glad that he enjoyed the songs, and we decided to do something creative during this period together. And all started like this. And soon after, the first songs became much more. I came up with other songs together with Jesse, and we finally have maybe 9-10 songs ready for demoing. And Jesse came up with a very, very good idea. What if we choose one different singer for every song? And that was challenging because you have to reach out to all the people, the person, and we made a list at the beginning, What do you think, Jesse, would be the best, the ideal singer for this song, and so on? We made a list of our favorite singers, and it was incredible because when we reached out to the singers, showing their this demo we have chosen for them. They were so eager to and happy to do it. So it was incredible. It was perfect since the beginning. There was a sort of chemistry. I don't know why I have to spell it, but it was a fantastic experience since the beginning.
That's great. So how long have you guys known each other? Like how long ago did you reach out to Jesse, or have you guys known each other through touring, meeting up?
Yeah, I met Jesse in 2009 for the first time. I was in New York and I reached out to him. We just wrote some emails before that. So we catch up and we hung out together, and I found him so pleasant guy. I was really impressed by him. In fact, other times we met in the States, and I think that's the first thing that that made me think about him when I want to do something creative. And he's a very talented musician. He's a humble guy, and I love him from the first moment. So, so easy to think about it.
Oh, thanks, Andrea. That's really nice.
You're welcome.
The seed of all this, Tom, is we are fans of each other's bands. You know what I mean? We love the Foreshadowing, and I think the Foreshadowing guys were at least aware of Daylight Dies and maybe into what we were doing, and we were in the same the same scene. So we're aware of each other, and we just had an opportunity to meet, and that's just turned into a lot of cool opportunities, basically.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, Andrea, I loved your work in Foreshadowing, definitely. And when I heard this album, to me, personally, it's very fresh to my ears for death and doom metal. I can honestly say one of the best death doom metal albums I've heard in at least 6 or 7 years.
Wow. And I appreciate it so much.
To me, it's just
thanks so much.
From me, my personal taste, death and doom metal together, I like the dynamics of it on this album, because it's not just growls, it's not just clean singing, it's a mixture of all of it. And I feel like dynamics is a very strong thing throughout the album. It's not just it's cohesive, but it's not just one sound throughout. And it's just very fresh, and it's just something I like to hear in my death doom metal stuff. But going back to recording aspects and stuff like that, members being on the East Coast, West Coast, how does that work per se? As far as so you did some sessions in person, is that right, Jesse and Egan? But the core of it, because I'm not very smart with recording programs and stuff like that. How does that? I'm sure that could be very difficult with other members being in Europe and all that stuff.
I think the high level thing to mention there is that we weren't just on the East and West Coast of the US. Actually, Andrea was in Italy for a lot of the recording, and certainly pre-production. And obviously a lot of the vocalists are based all over the world, but a lot of them are all over Europe. And so that was a huge logistical challenge, is to figure out despite the fact that it's much easier than it was 10 years ago. You can record some guitars in one location and send them all sort of synchronized on a metronome and gridded out in your recording program, but it still was logistically difficult, finding the studio, finding the time. Egan did, I don't know if you want to, Egan is a sort of the recording engineer amongst us all, but Egan flew out and engineered the drum sessions with me, because that was drums are one thing that it's like very difficult to like, you can't, record in your bedroom or something like that. But I don't know, Egan, do you have anything else to add about like the whole production aspect?
Yeah, I mean, I think in addition to us all being involved, which is its own kind of logistical thing. I mean, one of the first things when Jesse and Andrea brought me on that I had to figure out is when everybody was awake to even have a conversation about something, because you want to be respectful of everybody's input, but you also want to get things done and not just sort of let things linger in email, because we did really want to get this done quickly, the actual recording process. And I mean, we were all in like 2 months, which is pretty good for totally remote. But in addition to that, something that I wasn't used to is we had a different drum editor, and we had, we were preparing stuff for Swano. And so there were, in addition, and somebody else recorded guitars and somebody else reamped guitars. And so there were just these additional considerations about, well, what does this engineer want to see? And ultimately, what does Swano want to see? And so, I think that stuff wasn't that difficult because everybody we engaged with was very experienced. If we were all 21 approaching this and didn't have like the experience of working with remote engineers and remote musicians, like it might have been sort of off the rails, but because everybody involved was like a functional adult, it made it pretty easy.
Nice. And this next question is a little more like broad or abstract, but kind of going back to the songwriting aspect of it. As I was saying earlier, it's obviously like death and doom metal. But there's, definitely some gothic elements sprinkled here and there throughout a few songs for sure. And like what I noticed the most is like the song structures. Like it's very unique to me too. Like I wouldn't necessarily say it's like progressive, but there's definitely parts where it just takes like a left turn, but it still fits. It's not like a random occurrence. Can you talk more about like the songwriting process and like, I guess, how you go into it beforehand? And yeah, just like if it was like a certain singer on one song, like if you wanted to go for a different style, because I noticed there's a lot of layers too. So I guess, yeah, I don't know if there's a particular song you want to talk about or just the songwriting in general.
Okay. I never overthink about what to do when I have to compose some tracks or music. I just start with a melody sometimes, and I try to overdub it with guitars or arrangements, and I have to feel like the music has to speak from something to the beginning. If I like a melody, I try maybe to evolve that, and if it works. So I can continue with trying a song structure. Maybe I started to think about, okay, this can be the intro. Let's go for a verse now. There may be a pre-chorus, chorus, and stuff like that. What happened that I also thought about the songs not to be very similar from each other. Thinking about the structure, I try to, for example, the first song with Miko and Egan, we sing on it. has a very pop structure, I would say. There is an intro, verse, chorus, then middle eight, and then again verse and chorus. So it's very, very simple. For the second track, I wanted to avoid this. So when I arrived, for example, at the middle eight, I try to development and then to evolve that part, and ended up in a completely different way since respect the beginning of the song. The third song is the New Forgotten Ones, and has longer verses, is a more prog structure too. But all of this can happen by chance. But this also, I also thought a lot about not making all the same kind of songs, because I don't want it to be the album to be boring in that way.
Yeah.
So I try with Jesse and Egan. When we finish the composition, we explain our favorite track list. Okay, this song could be the first one because of this reason, more catchy, more. And for example, Jesse, soon after he heard Shadow of Heaven, the last song of the album, he said, okay, I can see it immediately like the last song of the album. And that was the process for we think we had to think a lot about this aspect.
Nice.
And I think that it works.
The thing I'll add is that I joined on when most of these songs were largely written. And what I saw that Jesse and Andrea might not even realize they were doing is that when all the vocal demos came back, there were like these little micro adaptations of the songs to feel more bespoke for the singers. So it wasn't like, for lack of a better word, like a karaoke situation. The songs actually grew around the vocal demos when they came back. And I think that, to me, made it, much more musically intelligent and also cohesive. So, which is why the songs almost feel like they were written specifically with a single vocalist in mind. It's like, well, they sort of were, and just in a reactionary way.
Nice. Yeah, I'm always curious with like guest vocalists in general for albums. Like, if do you guys, I don't know if this is for Egan or Andrea, but do you like sing the patterns, the rhythms for the singers like beforehand, or do they come up with everything with the rhythm, the different tones, the different melodies with the singing, or it all depends on the song?
It depends on the singer. A lot of them don't really want any input. Like, Mick has really strong opinions about what it should be, and you just let them roll. And some of the other singers wanted a little bit more guidance. And I wrote lyrics for a couple of the other songs. There's a lot of trust involved, particularly with singers. And I think I learned that doing studio work too, but just because they're so exposed, particularly in the demo stage, and it's really easy to get in your own head. So it's about what's going to make them most comfortable, and which is ultimately going to result in them getting the best song, right?
Nice. Yeah, I was just, that's awesome. I've always been interested in the songwriting, because like for me personally, like if I was to write this, like it would take me so long. Like the songs are like jam packed, and like I noticed like with like Daylight Diaries as well, like there'll be like key changes halfway through riff, but like it's still so interesting to me because it, like Andrea was saying, like you could kind of go off a pop structure, verse chorus, But if you have like that even darker change, it keeps it even more interesting and just gives that element to it, which is awesome. And I was curious about, like, since it was like a studio project, so to speak, like drum programming, do you guys like write it on a drum program beforehand and then go in, or do you just go straight in and kind of do rough tracks, physical drums? How's that work?
Yeah. Yeah. Andrea. Oh, go ahead, Andrea.
No, go ahead. You.
No, it's all good. I was just going to say that Andrea like would definitely program drums to the demos when he would send them to me, and they would be, many times like very, very simple, but like directional guidance for like what he had in mind. And sometimes what he did is what ended up on the album, what I ended up playing. And sometimes I changed things around a lot. So it really sort of depended on the song. One thing I'll say, like kind of going back to your last question about like composing an album remotely and everybody in their own like silos like this, is that Andrea is just like, his work ethic for this is just like, was unbelievable. Like he may have said earlier that, the songs are sort of composed rather quickly and, and everything, but like he was refining them nonstop. Like I would learn a song, I would write a bunch of drum stuff that I was like pretty happy about, and then be like, oh, by the way, I like threw out all these riffs and now it's like a lot more focused and we're going to change this part, and I'd be like, fuck, like have to rethink the whole song. And that happened like, and the songs would be so much better. One of the benefits of it taking so long to do this is that we had a lot of time to like throw stuff away. Like there's many songs that were thrown away, many parts of songs that ended up completely different. The first song and the last song. So This Breath Is Not My Breath and Shadow Haven, those were two of like the very, very last songs written. And they weren't even necessarily, I think, supposed to be written for MMXX. It was like, Andrea has like other creative things going on, and like, but they didn't like obviously have a home. And he was like, and he emailed me, he was like, what do you think about these songs? And there was a couple other songs involved in that too. And I was like, these two songs have to be on the album, so it was interesting.
What like, just curious, like more like nerd talk, but like what drum program do you use, Andrea?
I use Logic.
Oh, okay.
Logic. And I like to track the guitars with it, and I also track the guitar line with the DI, so I can reamp later if I don't like the sound. That's the most beautiful thing nowadays that you can do with a computer. You can choose a sound, but you record also the line at the same moment, and you change your sound after that, and you can do it in a recording studio. For example, regarding the rhythm guitar, I recorded 4 tracks for each song. And then I reamped in a professional studio in Rome, Kick recording studio with Giuseppe Orlando, with the sound engineer, and also Marco Mastrobono. They really did a really great job, because I think that at the end there is a world of the rhythm guitar that you can hear on the album, and I also think that Tasvano was fundamental for that. It really, really did an amazing job on the album.
Great. Yeah, at the beginning of the pandemic, I bought Get Good Drums. It's like the Invasion pack. It's like the metal one, but I've yet to really sit down and learn it all. It's just one of those things I gotta get on top and just nerd out and just dive in, because if I don't have anyone to jam with, like, I gotta have at least drum program to start the skeleton of the song and all that. But that's awesome, because it takes a lot of patience. But I'm sure once you get down the program itself, it becomes funner, and there's a lot more to add on to it. So yeah, the album just dropped, obviously. Would you guys consider this strictly a studio project, or like down the line maybe doing a few live shows? I mean, I know it's hard because there's a lot of guest vocalists throughout the world, but like, have you guys like thought of anything like that, or?
We're pretty much viewing this as a studio project. Like, it would be very hard to recreate this. I mean, it's even hard when you have a full band, like with Daylight Dies, for us to even play, you know what I mean? So like when you're missing like 90% of, or maybe not 90%, but you're missing a huge bulk of the people that contributed to the album, that would be really hard. So,
yeah. I was just curious. I don't know if you guys like all met up at like a festival sometime or something, and all the other bands are playing, but no, yeah, I totally get that. It's a lot of logistics and a lot of just planning, and Ticketmaster and Live Nation, as an example, how skyrocketing those, but hopefully it kind of goes back down. Hopefully Pearl Jam takes them to court again. No.
Maybe we have a gig in the metaverse. I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't. Yeah, who knows what can happen? But I doubt it.
Yeah. And then Andrea, forgive me. You might have said this at the very beginning. What is like, or maybe to all you guys too, what does the title "Sacred Cargo" mean to you?
To me, means that it's a very special gift that we, with me, Justin Dick, and all the amazing artists involved, can give to humanity. It's the name Sacred Cargo is something you deliver to others, because I always thought about who is an artist. An artist is just a vessel, someone that takes ideas, who knows where. Saying I did this, I didn't do this. When I compose, there is something on the air that I can catch if I'm in the right mood. So I think that all the album and all the artists that participate and put their own creativity on it, just catch this mood, the mood of what was happening around the whole life. And we took this and we put into a record. So that's fantastic, because this will be an experience that me personally I will never forget. And so I think it's something that we composed with, now it's out finally, and it's finally delivered to everyone. It's something that belongs to everyone. I would say that for me, Sacred Cargo is this.
Nice. I have to say, I love the album cover too. Who created that album cover?
Henry Prestis. I'm not sure how you say his, probably certainly not how you say his last name, but that's how my American mouth says it. But he's a Portuguese, like fine art photographer, who we sort of I stumbled across online, like one does in 2022, and was just like blown away by the atmosphere that he was like really capturing, specifically around the pandemic, like all these isolated humans in, some sort of, some city where like nobody else is around. And I just reached out to him and explained the project. And I was like, is there any way that, you'd be interested in like us using some of these images? They perfectly match what we're trying to do. And he was just totally generous the entire time. He has quite a presence online, and like, he's quite successful. Like, he certainly didn't need to say yes to us. And so this is like another example of just the generosity that we've experienced from all these like really talented people agreeing to participate in this. This is quite shocking, to be honest. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I love that. It's almost like a cityscape kind of behind the person in there, and it just very fits the album title, and kind of just like I don't know, to me at least, I take it as like a lonesome traveler persevering through stuff and just going
Exactly.
hardships, but just coming out strong as well too. Yeah, and then I was just curious, what would you guys, do you guys have a favorite song, or would you say there's like one song that's like the most unique on the album? To me personally, I love Faint Flickering Light for sure. And then I can't pronounce the song title, but the one with Carmelo from November on it. I absolutely love that one too. I feel like, speaking about Carmelo, like his voice is just super unique. Like I don't know anyone else in like doom metal or just metal in general that has that tone and stuff like that. But yeah, I was just curious, you guys have a favorite or anything like that?
Listen, I'm curious what the answer is from everybody too. To be honest, I think. Let's see. If I had to choose one, geez.
If you love them all, I told you that too.
Yeah, no. If I had to choose one, honestly, like it might be the New Forgotten Ones. Like that one just like really came together amazingly. Like just like every element of it, I'm really happy with it. I think the video that Vesta did for it is like, it's not even a video. It's like a short film, really. It's just really amazing. But if I had to choose two, I might say The Tower, which Mick Moss is on. I really, really, really like that one. It's very like different than all the rest. So what about you guys? I'm curious.
To me, I think Faint Flickering Light for a reason, because it was the first song that actually I came up with, and from there started everything. So when I was in my house, isolated, and the demo was finished. That's finished. I said to myself, okay, I like this. Maybe I can continue to come up with something like this, because I didn't mean to start a project or something like that, and I think it was the fact that I like the Faint Flickering Light when it was finished, and that was the reason why I decided to continue coming up with their music. But at the same time, it was the first demo in which we received the fourth complete song as a demo song with the voice, and it was Egan that really that unbelievable work on that song. And my wife started crying the first time. Literally, it was something so, because my wife followed all the steps, and when he heard Egan's voice, it was this voice emotional, so it's beautiful. Was unbelievable for my wife, for me, and for everyone, I think. So definitely Faint Flickering Light.
Nice. For me, I think it probably is New Forgotten Ones. For whatever reason, I mean, I'm fans of everybody on this whole, like the whole project. I mean, including Jesse and Andrea. But that was the one I kind of fanboyed out on a little bit. And like with the bass line, I was like, all right, don't fuck this up. And, the way it all came together, I don't know, like that one just as a song, like as an exercise in executing exactly what you want, was like the one that really felt rightest to me. I think, Jesse and Andrea might be horrified to know that like I learned how to play those songs like while I was recording, by and large. And so so like all those lines are like, that's, those are sort of first impression lines, which is the antithesis of how Jesse and I have historically done things together, where sometime around the 35th revision, like we're done. But so like that one to me just like felt special, but if you ask me on a different day, I'll probably give you a different answer, because the unique thing about this project is the variety in there, and like that something can strike you, can be evocative in a different way than it was the day before, because of the variety of the singers and what they bring. So
yeah, we were just talking about songs off the album that kind of stood out to us, but yeah, definitely Faint Flickering Light to me as well. But yeah, Egan, I would have to say, like, you're definitely like one of my favorite vocalists in metal, and like your voice is very unique. Kind of reminds me, like, some tones of it kind of reminds me of like Jerry Cantrell a little bit, but like still like your own style for sure.
Cool. I appreciate it. Alice in Chains harmonies were a big influence on my formative years. So like, it's impossible to like, I don't know, for me to deny that that's an influence. Like those harmonies are special for that band. So.
Oh yeah. And like, I also thought for the album closer, like it was like perfect to have Dan Swano on there. Like he's just like just epic singing, and it's just like he's part of so many projects, and it's just cool to like see him come again in this album. And yeah, it's just awesome closer, and just so many legends on this album, and it's cool to encompass it all. And like I was saying earlier, the songwriting, there's so much like within each song. Like I'll definitely be playing this album over and over. Like I'm still like getting used to it all, and yeah, I can't wait. And yeah, for the viewers out there, definitely check out the music video that came out too. And there's a lot to unpack for sure still. I was wondering, what like guitar tunings are you guys in? Like, is it different for each song, or is it one tuning throughout? Or
did you get that, Andrea?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Sorry,
the line. I'm sorry.
What guitar tuning are you?
Maybe I have to check.
Is it different for each song?
Okay. Sorry, can you repeat
okay.
me? Sorry. I just heard about. Are you speaking about the tuning?
Yeah.
Okay. Just heard the last part of the question. Sorry. And regarding the tuning, there are some songs, such as the one Carmelo sings on, Der Nucleus, or also Shadow Haven for some chords. We used A tuning guitars with a drop A.
Oh, okay.
Tuning, and or normally or for songs like Scientifically Light, for example, just regular 7-string guitars tune regular tunes. And so let me think. For all the other songs, I just use the 7-string guitar with a normal tuning.
Oh, okay. Nice. So, and then Egan, did you sing on just Faint Flickering Light, or do you sing on other songs too?
I sing with Miko on the opener as well.
And then did you do some like riffs and recording, like songwriting too?
No, I didn't write anything. It's all Andrea. Yeah, I wrote some lyrics for a couple of the other songs, which I'm not going to come up with. Well, I guess This Breath, and what's the other one, Jesse? Help me out here.
Shadow Haven.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and I just approaching that. I just tried to write them. I tried to write them all from different perspectives, so it wouldn't just be me like complaining about sitting in my house. Like I tried to view them through different lenses, in the hopes that would create some more diversity that matched like the diverse singers on the record.
Nice. And what kind of like amps and like kind of like, I don't know if you guys used any like pedals or anything like that. What kind of amps and I guess like drum setups were you guys using as far as like gear talk?
Regarding the guitars, I reamped the rhythm guitars with a PV 5150.
Okay.
And so that was the way to go, because we tried a lot of different amps with the sound engineers, but when you get used to a certain sound, you already know when you hear it, that's it. And so maybe you're used to listen to records, stuff like that. So you recognize immediately that is the right sound for your album. So 5150 PV, absolutely. And we tried also to match it with a Mesa Boogie, but we didn't find a nice sound. And I think we used also another amp which is not very famous label, maybe it's handmade. And we record also some guitars with those amps.
Awesome.
Yeah, on the oh, sorry, I was just going to answer on the drum front if you're curious. I use the same drums as we use for Daylight Dies, which is I have a Sonar S-Class. And so because I happen to be down in North Carolina right now, that was very convenient because that's where they live. And yeah, so I love those drums. So it was cool to be able to use them.
Nice. So those drums specifically are in North Carolina, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because Daylight, when Daylight was rehearsing and whatever, back in the day, like we were all living in North Carolina when we were at our peak of activity, and then we sort of started spreading throughout the country. And like I moved to New York many, many years ago, and then I lived in California for a while. Then I moved back in New York, and then I came down here during the pandemic, and I probably won't be here that much longer. But like, I didn't haul my drums around everywhere because it's a pain in the ass. But they were just, I would just use some other drums wherever I was going. But like that kit in particular, that was a kit that like when I was, I invested my money and time into like getting a kit that it was exactly what I wanted for Daylight. So it was cool. That was convenient that it was here and we we knew it sounded really good and everything.
Oh yeah. What bass amp did you use, Egan?
No amp. So I just plugged my Roscoe. Sorry, I'm sitting where I recorded, so that's why I'm looking over at things I used.
No worries.
I gave Dan a clean DI of my Roscoe 5-string, and I parallel to that, I recorded what I listened to, which was going straight into my bass driver DI, the Sans amp, and which I've used forever, like 25 years or something. And then that went into a distressor for compression. And that was it. I think the only thing kind of weird is the Roscoe has the hammer smash bass, drawn the Alex Webster signature pickups,
Nice.
which sound great. So like, I don't think anybody but Alex plays those, but there you go. There's a plug for Alex Webster, as though he needed my seal of approval.
Nice. And then just random question. What are you guys listening to these days personally, like last week or so, or anything particular? Any bands?
Sorry.
Any like new bands or just going back to the classics, or all
I
depends?
have listened lately a band from Rome, which he's a friend of mine, and I really think he did a great album. And the band is called Ars Onirica, and they released the album I think this month too. And it's really, really great doom, and I love it. I'm also into new stuff, a new band like Halo Effect, very, very nice album. And honestly, I love the latest album of Voivod, Synchronicity. I love it. And that's all, I think. This is my soundtrack for the last few months. Okay.
Nice. I'll have to check out all those bands. Egan, Jesse, anything that comes to mind, or just
Summerlands, that new record is good. Am I saying that right, Jesse?
Yeah, that's how I say it.
Catatoni is coming to town later this month, so going back through that catalog, which is obviously fantastic.
Nice.
The lighting.
But yeah, getting excited for that show. But yeah, other than that, I've just been cycling through my classics. So there's going to be some Ishan and some Meshuggah and some Enslaved, and there you go.
Yeah, I really like this band Worm that has a lot of hype in the especially with people that are into doom, and they have this new EP called Blue Nothing.
I was just about to bring that
I
up.
think, yeah, oh my God, it's so good. I mean, in my opinion, I was just listening to it last night with a friend, and we were like, yeah. But yeah, it's that's just so good on so many levels. So I've been loving that. Also loving that Summerlands album. I mean, it's retro, but like in the best way. So those two are the new ones that I've been paying a lot of attention to, and then otherwise, yeah, always listening to the classics. And I mean, honestly, like a lot of the, it's been so cool about this project, like listening to a lot of the bands that participated in the project, like Clone, like they're regular on for me, so yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to mention about that with this project in general. Like, there's two bands I actually didn't know about at all. Like you're saying, Clone, I didn't know, and then Autumn's End. So I'm stoked to be able to like dive into them and just kind of get more into their world and what they kind of bring to the table. But yeah, that Blue Nothing from Warm is amazing. I was playing that the last like 2 weeks when I came out, and like that the sound black and doomed. Like I never like really heard that many bands that have that element, and it's not like super slow to me in the sense tempo wise, so it keeps it. It's more interesting to me in my opinion, and just Phil's guitar solos are just incredible. But I have to say this real quick. Daylight Dies, like one of my favorite bands ever, and like Dismantling Devotions, like most cathartic album to date, or forever for me. But yeah, I'm just honored to interview all three of you guys, and really appreciate you guys taking the time, and so stoked to get this album out there. I'm going to keep sharing it on our website and get it out there. Do you guys have any words for listeners and fans out there, or where they could buy it directly? Is it on Bandcamp? It's through Candlelight Records, correct?
Yeah, it's on Candlelight. So first of all, just thank you so much for saying all those things. That like really means a lot to us, and there's not much more I could say than that. Thanks to everybody else that's out there that like takes a chance on like yet another like new band, even though there might be people that they're familiar with on it. I know there's just like an infinite river of like content heading their way nowadays. So it's cool that if somebody gives it a chance and gets into it. And we have merchandise on our website, and then you can buy the album digitally on Bandcamp, which like really supports us a lot. But otherwise, like there's vinyls that kind of like are releasing that look really pretty. We don't have our copies yet, so but we've seen photos. It looks pretty awesome. It has Henry's artwork in it, so it's gonna be beautiful. But yeah.
Bye.